Hello, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And of course, look, I am so happy you're here. I'm ready to go. I'm excited as usual. I guess you say, Jay, you're always excited. I am. It's like, when you have company come, you get so excited when you know your friends are going to come over. You go through, you start kind of cleaning this up and fixing this up and thinking, now what should I do? What should I serve? What should I have? And look, what should I put on? Well, yes, it's hot, but Jay has on a poncho. Oh, so let me tell you my thought for this tutorial because it is special. It is so special. And so it kind of starts on a little serious note, but that's okay. Hey, Jay has a serious side. Well, first of all, do you remember back when I did the Helping Hand shawl? I got that great idea from my friend Jill. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but I hope she's doing great. But that gave me the idea because she's a caregiver and I wanted to do something special just for people that I know or that I've come in contact with. And one time I was even a caregiver. And in fact, more than once, a couple times. So I know what it is, to help people, to be there, and that someone is depending on you. Well, there's another group that I said, well, I'll do them later because I want to give special importance. I wanted to make it really something special. And of course, that's for nurses. Now I know, you can go and read up on how nursing began and all the historic of nursing. I'm just talking about those nurses that you just see. Sometimes you don't even notice them, but they're there. They're people in times of need you can depend on. Sometimes they can give you more I guess intimate care or whatever than even the doctor. So I wanted to do something special for nurses. And so maybe you were a nurse, maybe your mom was a nurse, or you know a nurse, you got a daughter or son that's right now in school learning to be nurses. But whatever, it's something that everyone can think, yes, I remember this nurse. She was so kind to my father when he was sick. Or I remember this nurse when my mother was in hospice. And I remember the nurse that when I had my baby, how she was so sweet and kind to me. Or just things like that. So, like I say, I can't do, I don't have a lot to give. So I just use what little bit I can come up with, my little designs. And I like to, think of people when I design something or make something or share it with my friends on the YouTube. So, like I say, it's not a big thing, but, it's something that I wanted to just share, just to say thank you. Thank you to nurses everywhere. Him or her. Now, I'm starting to show you this poncho. It's a nice poncho, very simple. It's knit, really nice. The book we're going to use, of course I'm going to go over all the different yarns in the book, but it's one that we've used before. And like I said, I don't know how good the camera's showing up on this, but it has a nice roll neck. And of course, when I design things, I try to give you a choice, so you will have another choice. As you can see in the pictures, I went ahead and I'm working one in real time so that I can show you how first of all, the stitch. This is the stitch, and it's in a panel. Can you see that? Isn't that pretty? Very simple. I didn't try to do something way out, It's not about that. It's about where the heart is and why I'm doing it. And like I say, I wanted something simple, so even if a nurse you know, that maybe a nurse that knits, she or he, you know, wanted to do this poncho. I want it to be simple enough that they can work on it, take it back and forth to work, or work on it at night to kind of relax and come down, and you know, from the stress of the day. And or you, like I say, you can make it and give it as a gift. So it's mainly a lot of knitting, and the pattern will be very simple once I show you. It's the book we've used before, and I think you're gonna like it. And then of course the neck. Like I say, you will have a choice on the neck style. Isn't that pretty? What do you think? Oh, and one last thing. You know Jay, you know I like my little accessories. I just like to make them. You can just go buy something at Tuesday morning, or you could buy jewelry at Steinmark or Marshall's or TJ Maxx and be done with it. But I hardly ever get out there and buy stuff like that. I got so much stuff. But I do enjoy making something, just something simple. And of course, this is just an I-cord. You know I like I-cords. And some beautiful beads. And these beads I'm going to go through and tell you what they represent, and of course how to make this simple little I-cord beaded necklace. So I'm glad you're here. I have a lot to share. I'm excited about my gift for nurses. I have a second video after this one. I'm going to try to get it. I'm still working on the project, and it will be for him. For him or her. And I just thought it would be appropriate. I don't do a lot of guy things because my guys don't really wear hand knitted stuff. But I try to at least think of, or you know, try to come up with something at least to share. Let you know I'm thinking about you too. So after we finish this one, then I'll have the next one. Hopefully I'll have it ready soon too. Well, I think that's it. I don't have anything new except this that I'm working on. This is a tutorial, and I'm going to get ready, clear everything up, get all the supplies, and we're going to sit down and just relax. But I just wanted you to see how pretty this simple little poncho is. It may be simple, but for the people that I'm doing it for, you're awesome. To our nurses, thank you, and thank you. Okay, so now let me just share with you the idea I had when I, you know, decided to make this beautiful, like, tunic sweater, or, you know, if you want to call it a poncho. And when I was thinking about it, of course, I was thinking about, oh, Jay, you know, that would be so pretty to walk in the mall. And as the fall weather comes in, you know, it's not really cold yet, but, you know, you want to look, you know, you want to look really cute. And I wanted it to be loose. I didn't want button down or button up or whatever. I wanted to just be loose, but I wanted a pretty neck. And, of course, I wanted a pretty knit stitch. So, I really, when I first got the idea, I immediately thought of Line Brand Heartland yarn. It's a medium weight, and right away, because I remember how it draped on another project I made. And so, I looked in my stash, and I had 4 skeins of this, and I hope I have the right band on here. I believe this is Glacier Bay. It's a teal kind of colorway with, it's not really solid, but you know what their yarns look like. There's like a nice little mixture of something. But it's very pretty, and this is the one that I made, you know, the one that I was wearing, the first part of the video. And I just, like I said, right away, because I remember how it draped. It drapes really pretty. It's a medium weight. They call for a 9, but it knits up better for me in a size 8 for this. So it will be knit on a size 8. So I just wanted to let you know, if you look in your stash, like I said, it took 4 skeins. This is all I had left of the 4 skeins of this color. So now real quick, of the same brand, here's some other colors I think would be very in line with this fall, our fall. We're having fall. But like I say, you may you know, there's pinks and there's off white, so you know, colors. There's lighter colors, light blues. They have a variety of colors, but this is the same yarn. And let's see what color. This is Yosemite, and that really just to me speaks of fall. It's just really pretty. It's that pretty orangey, goldy color. I just thought that would be pretty. Okay, another one is, one that I really like. Excuse me. Okay, this is Everglades. Now, isn't that pretty if you're a green person? Ooh, I think something got in my throat. Sorry. Look, Jay's been talking so much. Okay. But isn't that pretty? Wouldn't that make a really pretty poncho? And then, of course, just to throw out some more colors, look at this black and grayish. This is Great Smoky Mountains. Oh, isn't that a serious? Wouldn't that make a serious look? Oh my gosh, isn't that pretty? Can't you see yourself walking in the mall in your boots? I wish I could wear boots. But wouldn't that be pretty? So, those are some of the, like I said, I just looked in my stash. And you probably will need at least 4 because, let's see how many yards. This runs about 250 yards. Okay, now the next one, because I wanted to see, because I know everyone is in different climates, and I just wanted to see how other yarns would drape that we've used before, and that I had a lot of in my stash. And so, oops, and this is one that I have in my stash. This is from Hobby Lobby, of course. The others, I'm sure I picked all these up at Joann's. But from Hobby Lobby, I love this yarn, super soft, just a regular, you know, $3.99 soft yarn. And this color is Mixed Berry. Mixed Berry. Now, this is the one that I will be working in real time because I wanted to see just how it would look with. This yarn has a little more bulk than the Heartland yarn because this one drapes a little better. This knits up pretty, but it, you know, it's a little, I guess maybe after you wash it, you know, after it's laundered, it may soften up even more and drape even prettier. But I wanted you to have another choice also. So you can look in your stash, and I didn't even pull out any more colors because I got so much of this. You know, I love this yarn in my stash, but this is the one that I will be working and demonstrating the stitch and working in real time. So I wanted you to see. And since this one has a lot more yardage, 355, you probably only need 3 skeins. I would just get 3 skeins just in case, so I didn't have to run back out. You know, if you find 2 in your stash, you know, you can go ahead and start because they're pretty good about the yarn matches up. Like I said, since we just use acrylic yarn, you can always go back if you see that that you're going to need an extra skein. But I have 3 skeins of this. Okay, and just because. Okay, here are 2 of my, of course, my favorites, the ones that my reliable yarns. They're medium weight also, but you know that these 2 drape beautifully. Starting with Karen Simply Soft, and this color, I just picked some colors up. I just picked, you know, something out of the bag. This is Autumn Red, and I know I have 2 skeins of this, maybe 3. And, of course, it drapes, and it's, like I said, it's medium weight. And the others I think more as, when I look at this, when I was deciding, I was thinking of myself walking in the mall. To me, this is going to be more sporty. You know, more of, oh, I got to go somewhere, you know, where I'm going shopping or something. I'm going to the mall. I'm just going to put on my sweatpants and my little shell or whatever, and I can put this on top. A little more sporty, you know, just out and about. That's what I want to say, out and about. Where these 2, I would call them more dressy because they have the sheen that I love so well. You know, these are my favorites, 2 of my favorite yarns. They knit up beautifully. They drape beautifully, and they have this awesome sheen that when you get through, your piece looks very, you know, it doesn't look so handmade or anything. It just looks real nice and polished, and it's just really pretty. And you know, I believe the the stitch pattern, the lace pattern would really pop in these because they do drape really pretty. So that's one, and of course, I got this at Joann's, I'm sure. And of course, last but not least, here's Hobby Lobby, Yarnsby Soft Secret, and this is Royal, and this has that beautiful sheen, and it's a little different texture. This is a smooth texture, but this has a little texture to their yarn. But it has an awesome sheen also, and it drapes beautifully, very pretty. And it would really, the lace I think would really pop in this, especially that, the collar, how it's going to roll down and look real pretty. So I would call these more dressy. These two have the sheen. I would say they're more for, more dressy. The others are a little more, I'm just going to run out a minute. But you're just to look in your stash, because that's what we're about, to see what you already have. That's what I try to design for. And just like nurses that's a very busy profession. I'm sure they have very busy lives trying to do nursing, and just live their regular lives. I was trying to come up with a little simple design. Don't put so much in the design, but try to make the project simple enough that you'd want to knit it for yourself if you're a nurse, or to knit it for someone else and give it as a gift. I'm telling you, can you imagine having a big old box with a big old bow, and you knit this for your daughter who's a nurse, or someone that's a nurse, and since it's so simple, you could knit, you would be able to knit more than, like I said, if I can knit more than one, you could knit more than one if you had to, like for gifts, because sometimes if you give one something, you got to give another one because they're going to go, well, I want that too. So I just wanted to just say thank you, and I think this is going to be a fun knit, and I think you're going to really like it, and you're going to be making decisions on different things as we go along. I also have come up with a size chart. I went ahead and worked out all the math, and I will have that on the screen, and you'll be able to pick a size and cast on the number. We're going to make a formula as we normally do. I'm going to show you the stitch, the book I use, and where I got the stitch. We'll do up our formulas. You can pick your size and then just cast on. You don't have to worry about doing anything else, but just picking a size that you think will fit. On my sample that I was wearing in the video, I'm wearing an extra large. I knew I'd be at the mall with something under it, one of my shells, or a long sleeve little turtleneck if it got real cold. But the idea was to have my arms free, so that if I was at the mall and I was knitting with some of my friends, I wanted my arms free, but yet I'd still have that nice warm poncho or tunic sweater, on my body. So let's see, I'm going to demonstrate in real time, like I say, in this yarn, because this is just what I already started working up, and do each row as I always do. Tell you any tips to help you to get through this. Some of you, I have gotten great messages, those crocheters. If you want to start something, if you're finally ready to get off the fence, I love crocheting. But once, and like I said, I don't know which one I learned first, but once I really got into my knitting, you can just knit so many more things, and they just have a nice look to them, and they feel great. And so this is a great one. The pattern is only 6, the stitch is only 6 rows. 3 of them are pattern, and the other 3 are purl rows. So if you just simply know how to knit and purl stitch, I'm going to lead you through the rest of it. I'm going to walk you through it as I always do. And this will be a great one and a great time to say, you know what, Jay, I'm going for it. I'm going to try this little simple. And I've already, like I said, worked out the size. So this one would be just right. And if you start now, you don't have to be a fast knitter. You will have something special for the upcoming holidays. Ooh, you're going to look so cute. You can pull those boots out. Oh my gosh. You're going to look really cute. So I'll clear everything up, get the book out to show you the stitch. We're going to talk about it, the size, and like I said, we will have that on the screen, and then we're going to work and see how easy this really is. Okay, see you back in just a little bit. Okay, let's talk a nice stitch for our beautiful sweater style poncho. And of course you recognize and remember this book. I did a review on it I think a while back, and it's 750 knitting stitches, the ultimate knit stitch Bible. This is the one I got off of Amazon too some time ago, and it's so pretty because it's hardcover. I like to get hardcovers if I can, and it is just beautiful. I just love rubbing. Look, I just love touching and looking at it. And some of you bought it too. Oh, I know Jill got it, and a lot of you others bought it too. Well, like I said, we want to use these books. So, I decided to take a nice stitch out of this book to do, to put in this project. And sometimes when when you're still new, maybe at picking out your own designs or whatever, or trying to come up with your own designs, it's really a lot easy. I hope I didn't move the camera. Make sure I got my making sure I'm on camera here. Okay, it's a lot easier to find something in what we call panels. Panels are where they've taken a certain stitch and added the maybe the decorative edging or decorative connecting stitches to the original stitch. And I came across this one's very, like I said, all these books are, most of the things that are in stitch books are in public domain. You can find them in every book. If you don't have this one and you hadn't decided to buy it yet, you probably will on down the road because it's a great book. But you can find Van Dyke lace panels in a lot of other books, or on the net. You can go online and probably find it. But this is the Van Dyke lace panel, and it's worked over 17 stitches, and they suggest a background of stockinette instead of reverse stockinette, and that's exactly what I've done. So from our book of 750 stitches, I'm taking the Van Dyke lace panel, and it says panel number 1 because there's a Van Dyke in this book. There's a Van Dyke lace panel number 2, and it does not have the, like I say, connecting stitches or the enhanced borders because it's worked over a panel of 9 stitches. This one, the one we're going to do, is 17 because it has the extra stitches so that we don't have to try to add anything unless we just want to add more. But it's ready to go, as maybe some of these stitches we have to, try to, to fit it into the pattern. This comes like self-contained. How about that? And then this one is without the extra stitches, and it's only 9. It's worked over 9 stitches. This Van Dyke panel, lace panel, is very simple. There's 6 rows to work. 3 of those rows are pattern, the other 3 are purl. That's why I picked it. Like I said, sometimes it's not in how fancy the stitch is. When there's a lot of knitting, sometimes it's best to have a simple pattern because you have so much knitting. And this particular poncho, it's just knitting up the back and coming across, knitting down the front. It's a lot of knitting, so the stitch will be nice and easy to remember, and you'll be able to keep your place. Alright, so that's that. Real quick, the needles you're going to use. First of all, I used a number 8. This poncho is worked on US number 8, and I had a 36 because it's going to be long. So I had a number 36. That's one you're going to need. And then, of course, you will probably need some straight needles as we get up to the shoulders. Number 8, a small thing of straight needles. Same size, number 8s. Okay. Just so you can look through your stash and see what you have in your needle sizes. Alright, when we get to the neck, we're going to go into the round. And I suggest either a number 9, 29, or 24, or 25, whatever it is, or number 10. If you don't have a 9, but you have a 10, that'll be just fine. If you have a 9, you can use a number 9. $29 because we're going to pick up stitches around the neck of this poncho to make this beautiful cowl-like collar that rolls real pretty. So, of course, stitch markers and a lot of, you know, some caps, just your normal things that you would use. Let's see, in this little section, I think that's it before we start. Before I go over now, I'll go over the size chart so I can show it to you and not just talk about it. I just don't like talking about something without you seeing it. All right, so now we have an idea of needles. And so now you can look for your needles and see if you have something, hopefully that will work for you. All right, be right back, and I'm going to lay it all out, and we're going to talk about how to size. So, an overview of this nice poncho, and you can see it laid out now. So, see, it's really like a nice rectangle, more, you know, just a nice, like rectangle. Of course, our neck opening is here, and then when we come back and pick up this pretty, these stitches to make this pretty roll neck, and you'll get a choice whether you want a plain neck or something a little different. All right, now first of all, so that and you can see, of course, the lace, the panels are on each edge. Can you see that? I think I should be on this side. Okay, you see the pretty panel, and it looks more like a nice little sweater edge. Isn't that pretty? And I did add some extra stitches here, but we'll take care of that in our formula. Now, to size, just real quick so that I can get to our formula and then we can do some stitching. This area here is where you will size. The panels are already set. It takes 17 stitches on each side, plus any stitches we have that we will use to, I call them borders or separation. So we will have a little separation here, and then we're going to have finish it off with a nice garter ridge edge like you do on a sweater. See how pretty that looks on the edge, on the very edge. And then all of this in the center is what I call the body, of course. And this is how you'll size. This is an extra large. I made it for myself, and I could have maybe even gone down to just a large because it runs really nice, even though it's on a number 8. This yarn on the band calls for a number 9, but I have found that on it knits up to me much prettier on this number 8. Number 9, when I first started and I worked it for a little bit, it was just too loose. You couldn't see the pretty lace as well because it was just too loose. So I pulled it all out, put it on the number 8, and voila. So a number 8. Now, in this body section, say for instance, if you are small, I just did regular measurements, people. You know, that's my whole thing. I don't get into, you know, like I said, I try to keep my knitting simple. That's just the way it is, and I think most of you kind of gotten into it now. But say for a small, then I would want to have 60, my base stitches for my body would be 60 stitches from here to here. 60 stitches is what I'm going to start building on. That doesn't include each lace panel. That's just right here. So if you're a small person, then this part of our formula, or your formula, will be 60 stitches. Alright, if you're a medium, it just simply goes up by 5 stitches. So a medium would be 65 in this section. Okay, and I'm saying I'm kind of reading through it with you. So once it comes on the screen, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I got it. So now that was a medium, 65 stitches. If you are a large size, then 70 stitches will be in this body, and then of course we'll have to add each panel. But right here is where you size. Large is 70 stitches. Extra large, 75 stitches. It don't really take that many stitches because yarn stretches, and so you really don't need to overwhelm yourself with, you know, a lot of stitches. But extra large, 75, and that's what this one is. And if you are an XX large, you can go up to 80 stitches, and you see it's just by 5 stitch increments. Now, I've worked out all the math for the connecting part, the parts that we'll need once we get up to the neck. Like I say, I have it on, it'll be on the screen. It'll tell you how many stitches. Like, for instance, for the small person who has 60 stitches, we're going to take 20 of those stitches when we get to the neck and bind off 20. That will be your neck. For medium, we will bind off 25. See? Real easy. 5 stitches up. For a large, which is 70 stitches, we will bind off 30 stitches for your neck. Extra large, 75 stitches here, 35 stitches in the neck that we will bind off. Extra large, 80 stitches here, 40 stitches for the neck. And then that gave me the math to know how many stitches. If you take 20 off, then we're going to try to put 20 back when we get to the front. That's all increases and decreases are. If we take 20 out, then when we come over the front, we're going to try to add 20 or somewhere around that. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need a little less, but you have an idea how many you need to add. And I'll have, like I said, that's going to be on the screen. I won't go through that now. I'll go through it as we actually do your neck, because by then you already have a size and you'll know where you are. So, does that make sense? How to size? You just pick a size and kind of write that little information down just for your size. And then once we do our formula, we will take that number and add our extra stitches to make this complete poncho that we will knit starting in the back. I know this is the front, but we will start from the back, come over the shoulders, bind off our neck, come over the shoulders, increase the front, put those stitches back, pick up a few stitches in the center, and just continue down the front. Make sense? Okay. Well, let's see. Let's get our formulas and see. Let me show you how easy that is to make it now that we have the idea and you can actually see what I'm trying to do, trying to share with you. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, we're up to making our own formula for this project. Alright, so just went ahead and got it started. We're starting off with the US number 8. This is the Van Dyke lace, of course, and it's 17 stitches for the panel. That's what she gave in the pattern, so that's what we're going to use. Now, you had a chance to look at the size chart. I had him put it on the screen, and you just pick a size. I'm going to do, in my piece that I'm working on in real time, I'm going to do the extra large again. I wish I had gone down a size, but extra large. So my extra large calls for 75 stitches for the center back. We are starting in the center back at the bottom edge, and the center back I'm going to use 75 stitches for the body of my poncho. Now we need to add connecting stitches or finish out our formula on each side for the left and right side of the sweater, of the poncho. And like I say, it's just really what you would like to have. This is where we put our part. Her part is 17. I figured out the size that would hopefully work for most people, you know. Now, on the left side, I'm going to write it this direction. Okay, first of all, I know I want a border. You know, I always put a B for border. That's to just set in a nice edging on our sweater. And I'm doing that in garter stitch. That means I will knit every row. And I decided on 7 stitches, a border of 7 stitches. Okay? Now we need to add her stitches. for our Van Dyke lace panel, and she has 17. Okay, now we could stop here at 17 and just run it on into our regular stockinette. The center back, our regular body stitches will be stockinette. Knit on the front, purl on the back. Okay, but I decided to add 3 more garter stitch for a border right there. So I have 7 stitches for the border, 17 is the pattern. Okay, and I always put in a block, I just forgot. And then 3, just to give a little separation before I go into all this stockinette. And of course, if you have this on the left, you have to repeat it on the right. So I just start here and I go 3, 17, that's the pattern, and a border of 7. And when you add all of my numbers up, oh, let me get my calculator. You know I love to calculate. Oh, it's a little dusty too. Jay's got a little dust problem here. Let's see, can I wipe that dust off? All right. All right, let's see, can I see it now? All right, so we have our calculator, and we're going to go 7 plus 17 plus 3 plus 75 plus 3 plus 17 plus 7 equals, well, that ain't right, so I do it again. 7 plus 17, 7 plus 17. Oh my, something's wrong with my calculator, people. Oh, Jay's not going to be happy for calculators. 17. Well, I did something to my calculator. Okay, well, I've already done it, so it equals 129 stitches. My number is 129 stitches without my crazy calculator. Well, it was working a while ago, because, oh well, I done hit something. Maybe the battery's gone, I don't know. So, for me, the number of stitches I need to cast on for my extra large, on my US 8, I will cast on 129 stitches. Make sense? Okay, next thing to do, let's cast on, and after you cast on, go right ahead and knit 2 rows. And let me just say this, some people like a little, don't like the little narrow edge on, you might want something a little more. Or you could knit 4 rows. You can knit 2 rows and you'll have a very thin little border at the beginning. Or you can knit 4 rows. But either way, once you finish either 2 or 4 rows, we will be on the right side, ready to set in our place markers and start working our formula as we have printed it up. You'll put yours on a little card, a little piece of paper, that's all I do, and then I just work from that. Does that make sense? Okay, let's get started. Okay, this is the back and here's the center. Here's my lace here. Now, depending on how many inches you want to go up on your back. I normally go up about 20 inches. So, I sat down and I counted, I kept working, and I counted 20. I'm up to starting the 20th repeat of this pattern. And then what I will do after I finish the 20th repeat, then we'll get ready to bind off for the neck. So now we're going to get to our formula. Remember, we're knitting by our formula. And my formula, let me just get it right here. Okay, let's see. I have 7, you can see it right there. I have 7 garter ridge stitches. I have the Van Dyke lace pattern here. And then I put another little small garter ridge border right there. And then all of this, of course, is stockinette. You knit on the front, purl on the back. So let's take a look and see how it looks. I'm ready to start row 1 of my pattern again. And I'm going to read it out for you. See, can I get it? And I think I need to change the camera setting. So let me just change the camera setting. Make sure that you can see it on this darker yarn. Okay. Well, let's get started. Row 1 is the right side. And row 1 reads. Well, before we do the pattern, let's go over our formula. Remember, the first 7 stitches we're just going to knit. Sorry, I wasn't ready. So I'm going to knit my first 7 stitches, which is my edge, my border. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, now I slide or put a marker. This is where you'll add your marker to separate from the next section, which is the pattern right here. See that? So you put a marker. Now, row 1 reads, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, and you will end with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay, let's see how it looks. It's the first time I've used this dark yarn, so let's see. I hope it shows up good, and then I don't have to redo it. All right, knit 2 together right there, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right, now yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, 1 and 2, and we're only doing 1 repeat of it, so the last you end with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and the last 2 stitches, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass that slip stitch over, and the lace part is done. Okay, so now I put another marker. There's a marker there. And now I'm ready to knit these 3 stitches, which will form this nice garter stitch border right there. Just a little separation from the back. So that's 1, 2, 3. You will knit this on every row. And of course, now we can put another marker, and I'll slide that marker, and now I simply knit across to the left side of my work, and I'll just knit a few stitches so that, and then you see it. Now I'll meet you on the other end. Now as I come up to the left side, I'm knitting across the back, and I come up to the last stitch. I will place a marker because I will start with those 3 stitches. If you look at your formula, all right, we're going to be working with putting those 3 stitches on each side of the center back. So I slide my marker just like that. Now I'm ready to knit 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Place another marker, which will represent the beginning of the lace on the left side, and it will be 17 stitches also. And we're still on row 1, so don't move your row counter or your marker. Each side each row has two, a left and a right side. So let's go again. Row 1 says knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, 1, 2. Now I will end the same. Knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, and reach back and pass the slip stitch over and off. Slide, or place a mark and slide it, and you should end up with the border on the left side, and you should have 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches as on the right. So you just knit those on every row, just like that. And voila! Now we have a right and a left side done, and that was row 1. Row 2 and all even rows, wrong side rows, we're just simply going to purl. So I will simply turn the work, and all stitches are purled except the 7-stitch border and the 3-stitch border on each side. So just to save time, that's all you have to do. Everything else is purled, but you'll knit, always knit the first 3, purl the lace, knit these 3, and then purl across and do the same on the left. So now I will see you back at row 3, which will be back on the right side. Okay, so now we're up to row 3, which is the right side again. As you see, I've worked this back up so that I could get right up to the neck. So I'm on row, I believe this is, I think I have 19 repeats, and I want to do 20 for my for my back length. So row 3, of course, like I said, it's the right side, and of course you're going to start right here on your garter stitches. For my formula, I decided to do 7 here. Makes a nice edge that doesn't roll. Alright, now I'm up to my pattern. I simply slide the marker. Okay, row 3 reads, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 1. Now repeat that same sequence. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, and knit 1. And then you will end the row with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. So this is a cute little fun row. See, most of it's not very hard, and really you're just doing the same. If you notice, the beginning and the ends are just the same. So knit 2 together. Now yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over, now knit 1. Now repeat that sequence again. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, now knit 1. Oops. And you're going to end with knit 2 together. So I knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and the last 2 stitches, slip 1, knit 1, and pass the slip stitch over. Voila! Slide the marker, And then I have those 3 garter stitches there. I just knit on every row, these 3 stitches. It just makes a nice separation. Looks really nice. Okay, let me, oops, I split my yarn real bad there. Let me see, can I pick it back up? There we go. Knit 1, 2, 3, slide the marker, and of course now I'm back up to my body section, which is just stockinette. Knit on the front, purl on the back. So I'm just going to knit across, and of course I will repeat the same pattern, the same row on the left side as I just finished this one on the right. Okay, I'll see you back. I'll just go to the end and I'll see you back momentarily. Okay, so we're up to row 5. Just finished row 4. And so now I've turned the work and I'm going to start row 5 of our, in fact it's the last pattern row, so that's, like I said, that's why I chose something really simple, because there's so much to knit. I didn't want to put a real hard pattern in there. You know, sometimes it's just best to, you know, think about, well, you know, you don't want to, you want this to be a nice project, not one that's just gonna wear you out. Okay, so I've knit my garter stitches at my 2, 4, 6, 7 to start. I slide my marker, and now row 5 of this pattern. It is the Van Dyke lace panel, remember? Alright, it says knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, end with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. So let's go. We are at the end. So knit 2 together, real simple. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1. Now reach back and pass the slip stitch over. Okay. Now knit 2 together. Alright, now a yarn over, knit 3 stitches, knit the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3, a yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay, now you're going to end with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and the last 2 stitches, slip 1, knit 1, and pass the slip stitch over. And of course I slide my marker, and the next 3 border stitches I simply knit on every row as we've done the whole project. Put a little yarn here, slide the last marker, and now I'm in the body of stockinette, which I will just knit to the other end and repeat row 5. And just do a little bit so it won't slip off. Okay, now row 6 is a purl row. Now let's talk a minute. Let's see, can I open this up? Alright, then you're gonna, you know, eventually you take time to stop and see how many of these repeats. Instead of doing it by inches, I just, oops, hit the camera. I just kind of count my repeats. And on this one, I kept it simple. I counted up to 12. The little V, you can see the little repeat when you lay your pattern out. Remember the little trick about the towel? It always holds things really nice and pretty. And you see that? Let's see if it's on camera good. Yeah, okay. So, for me, I decided 20 of, I just counted 1, 2, 3, and I counted 20. Alright, so that's up from where you wanted to start, from your waist or wherever, to your back. You can go longer, shorter. This is just however long you want it. So I do an even number, And then I go ahead and start the next go round. I will start with row 1 and it'll start the 21st repeat. And that is the repeat where we will set in our markers and bind off our necks. So it just makes it simple to me, and then I don't have to worry about measuring so much. I'll do 20 up, 21. Be sure to have some markers. We will mark the 21st, starting with row 1. We will mark it as the top of the shoulder. We will go across, bind off the neck, and then start working on each side of the neck. Does that make sense? Well, it'll make sense when you see it. So, what I have to do now is get up and make sure I'm up to the 21st repeat of this pattern. And if I count it right, I should be coming up to it shortly. You decide the length you want yours. Alright, see you back in just a minute. Okay, alright, I have completed, I've completed 20 repeats of this pattern. I just sat down and counted up to see how many. So I just counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I did 20. I counted 20, and I held it up to my body, and 20 is good for me, for my back, going up to my back. So now I'm on row 1, starting with the 21st repeat. I want an odd repeat at the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, where I'm going to bind off the neck. It's just easy for me to, I try to find easy ways to do things. Sometimes you can measure wrong. But if I count and each side is equal, then I'm going to go with it. So here we are. Let me tell you this is an overview, so I need you to do this. Alright, of course, you're working on your size. And I've given the neck stitch count to what we're going to bind off. So before we can do that, you will need some markers. We're going to mark the row, and then we're going to mark the stitches that we need to bind off. And the way you're going to find out, or just count, starting here in the body, in the stockinette area, every size you will simply count over 20 stitches. Just count 2, 4, 6, and count over 20 and put a mark for every size. Then go to this edge over here and do the same. Count from this marker, count back 20 stitches, and put a marker. So whatever your size, the stitches between these two markers now will be the stitches that we're going to bind off. Let's see, can you see my marker? It's kind of far away. Let's see, I think I'll leave it right there. Okay. Alright, so, but you can see that I have some markers here that represent my neck area now. 20 stitches from this side, just counting the stockinette area, and 20 stitches from this edge. Now, I am on row 1. And I am getting ready to work row 1 again, and then, like I said, we've already marked our neck, so then we can just simply bind off. So let's just go row 1. First I've got to do my little border or edge stitch. Okay, then I get up to the pattern. I'm going to work the pattern just like I was working it before. Row 1 says, I'm not going to put on a string, I'll just go ahead and do it. Row 1 is knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay, now knit 3 and 3, alright. Yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over again. Let me grab it right there. Okay, now knit 2, and you'll end row 1 with, right there, with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over. Okay, so now I'm just going to slide that, knit those 3 little border stitches. Alright, and if you want to drop this mark, well, we'll just keep it. We'll just keep all our markers for right now. Now I'm going to knit over to the first marker that will start our neck. Like I say, on every side you simply count in 20 stitches from each starting with this stockinette area. So that leaves a nice neckline. So I'm up. I guess I could have had this ready. I just like for we got so many people that we're, that are crocheters and really are trying to get into knitting. I just want you to be comfortable and see, it's, to me it seems harder to try to tell somebody than to just show them. I hear people just trying to tell you about all this and that. It's just easy to me just to say, okay, well look, this is what you do. Alright, I'm up to my marker, so I know now I'm starting my neck, and this is where I want to bind off. So we need 2 stitches to bind off. If you need to keep that marker there, just move it down a little bit. If you need to remind yourself. Okay, so here's where the neck starts. And I need 2 stitches on this side right here. So I knit 1 stitch, and then I knit the next stitch. And then I reach back and bind off. And now I will just simply repeat that whole process right there. Knit the next stitch, reach back, and pull it over the stitch and off the needle. I bind off, and I continue across, going to the next marker. Keep it loose. That's the main thing of your neckline. Just try to keep it loose. And I just simply go across, go across. And for me, I was working the extra large, so I have 35. Should be 35. If not, don't worry about it. If you made a little mistake on your calculation, it will not, unless it's a big big mistake. But if you're off of 1 or 2 stitches, maybe you did something, who knows. But as long as you keep the right and left the same, as long as you counted in 20 stitches from this side and 20 from the other, then and these sides will be the same, number of stitches. That's all we're aiming for. It will not matter if you're off one stitch or so in the neck. We're just going to bind this off, and we're going to put a collar, and nobody's going to worry about that. So, as I continue across, I'm just coming up now, pretty close. And bind off. I can see my marker coming up. Get some yarn. Just try to keep it loose so it won't pull on the fabric, that's all. Here we go. Okay. All right, I see. Almost there. We are binding off our neck. There's 2 stitches left. Now, for the new person, you go, oh, I see, yeah, okay, I've got one more stitch, let's bind off. Okay, now watch. You bind that stitch off right before the marker. You knit the stitch and then you bind it off. Well, there's one more stitch that needs to be bound off. And this is, like I say, just to help our new knitters. So you have to just kind of go over here and knit one stitch on this side of the marker. We kind of bar it. Knit it. Now reach back and bind off the last stitch of the neck. Now, all the neck stitches have been bound off, and if you're not sure, stop and just simply count. You will have 20 stitches from this marker here across to where we just finished binding off. You should have 20. Don't worry about what's in the neck, just long as there's 20 on the right side and 20 on the left, plus your then your laces, you know. We count that separate. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of get here to, see, can I go ahead? Let's see how quick I can do this. Alright, I'm going up to my left side of my poncho here, left side of the back. I get up to the next marker, and that is the 3 stitch, 1, 2, 3. Slide the marker, knit those 3 stitches. Okay, because I want to make sure you know what we're going to do next. Alright, slide the marker, and this is still row 1. Remember, we're still on row 1. I'm going to have to move my little thing up here. Okay, now let me read it again. I won't put it on the screen, I'll just do it real quick. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over, knit 2, 1, 2, and now to end this section, we're going to knit the next 2 stitches together, yarn over, knit just 1, yarn over in the last 2 stitches, slip 1, knit 1, and then reach back and pass the slip stitch over. Slide the marker, and of course our border we knit on every row. Just like this. Okay, so I'm trying to, now, when I open it back up, let's see, can I get it all on camera? I think so, enough of it. Okay, so now, when I open it back up, you can see I have a neck now. I have a right side, and I have a neck that's bound off, and I have a left side. And the right and left should be equal. Now, just for beginners, I always try to remember to do this just to give you some help, because, you know, we want you to be able to really feel confident and enjoy knitting this, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to knit it. So, this is where you need some straight needles, or another needle, whatever, the same size. I'm using a number 8, remember, so I just grabbed up some of my clover number 8s. You can do the long or the short. I guess I should have put it on a long. Oh man, I ain't gonna get back up. I should have put it on a long. Okay, let's see what I have right here. I'll change it. Okay, so what I want to do before you do anything else, once you finish the row, stop. Beginners, I'm trying to help you. Okay, then take your straight needles and go ahead and pick up this side. This is the side we're going to come back to. We're going to work our left side, and then we will come back to the right. So I'm simply transferring these stitches and the markers. Just transfer everything by simply just picking up the stitch, putting it on this needle, so that I can have my circular needle free. And I just pick up, just transfer. See, just one stitch at a time. Be sure not to lose any yarn overs. That's the main thing when you're transferring. So I transfer this, and I just keep going. Like I said, I could have used a longer. Ooh, see, I almost let that yarn over. Don't let it slip off. There's a yarn over there. Transfer. Transfer the markers. Go, go, go. Transfer the marker. Okay, now I still have to transfer all of these too, all the way up to the neck. Does that make sense? I just do things, I try to do things in this in the same way all the time. That way I don't have to try to think of something new. You know, I just automatically remember, okay, put this, and I'll tell you what it does when we get to the end. Here I am at the end. I transferred all the stitches to a straight needle and immediately cap it. You need these little caps. Cap it. Now, what this tells me is, this is row 1. Remember? This is the 23rd, this is the 21st repeat. I did 20 up, so this row right here represents the top of the shoulder. So I can go ahead and mark this. I'll just mark it right here for right now. I may have to move it, but I know where it is. That's starts the 21st repeat of the pattern and the top of my shoulder. This is where, of course, where I bound off the neck. It also tells me when I come back to this side, my needle is already, my straight needle is already in the right position. I will know that I am on the purl side after doing row 1. I've already done row 1, so I know immediately I am on the purl side, row 2 of the lace pattern, so I don't get confused. See, the needle is already in the right position. Now I can attend to this side. Let me see if I'm on camera. I can work on this side. I think I need to move this side over. And what we're going to do is just continue to work the pattern. And I will probably go down to a smaller, you know, if you don't have lots of extra needles, you just keep working what you have. All right. We just finished row 1. Of course, row 2, I'd have to turn the work. And row 2 is the purl side. Okay, so now once you bound off the neck, you're going to do rows 1 through 6 one time. You're going to do a whole repeat. And then the next time we come back to row 1, we're on the left side, we will start to increase. And that's where I'll meet you back. So all you have to do is be sure to follow this. We're on row 2, the purl side. You will continue down all the way through row 6, and I will meet you back at row 1 again. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's see how you can do it, and let's see how it goes. Isn't that pretty? It's worth it, trust me. Even though I'm tired too, but trust me. Okay, so alright, I always get excited as we start to make a little progress. You've done a lot of knitting, so now we have just finished. Well, I just finished. Okay, after I bound off the neck, oh, and don't forget when you bind off and go across, be sure to put a mark on this side so that you'll be able to know where the top and where the bound off row is, and that's it right there. Okay, so now remember, I worked rows 1 through 6 one more time while you were gone, while I was off camera. So you see that little step up, you can see it right there, where I worked rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm on row 1 again, and this is the row that we will start the increase. What we're going to do, if you look on the screen, I didn't even bring my pattern back over here, but it tells you for your size about how many stitches to put back on each front. I'm right-handed, so of course I'm going to work on my left side first. And I think I have like 14. So that means on every right side row, I'm going to add 1 stitch as I work this pattern till I have at least 14 increases. And you can always kind of figure out where you are just simply by counting these stockinette stitches. Remember, we had 20 here, and you're going to keep adding a stitch every right side row, and we can just stop at any point and count and see how many stitches we have. Alright, so I've already worked, so I am ready to start row 1 and my first increase. Oh, and if I didn't say it, or if you didn't know, especially for beginners, once I do the neck, then this stitch right here on the edge of the neck, I go back into, I knit the first stitch. Some people like to slip their stitches. I just automatically knit the first stitch. So I simply knit this stitch, and then it's always the second stitch, we're going to just simply do a knit into the front and knit into the back. You don't need anything fancy, because we will be picking up this collar as we finish, and really this won't even be seen. So a simple knit into the front and into the back of the second stitch, and then of course now you're back in pattern. Now you're following your formula. We just have that one line and the actual lace pattern to follow, nothing else. So then of course I knit back across, and I've just increased one stitch. And I'm not going to go through the whole stitching process because this would just drag out. Okay, but do you see where? Alright, so now every time I do row 1, 3, and 5, those are the right side rows, you're just going to be working back and forth, row 1, 2, 3, and all. You will on those rows, you will go into the knit into the front and into the back of the second stitch. I knit this first stitch on every row, and then I will knit into the front and the back to make an increase on the right side until I have at least 14. Okay, Jay has worked on this left side here, and as you can see, the nice neckline has formed simply by increasing on every right side row till I had the number of increases I needed. On my size chart for my extra large, I did 14 increases on this side. Now I will have to go to the right side and do 14 increases, and then we'll join the two fronts and then continue to knit. So this is what it looks like. Oh, and let me just say this. So when I was increasing, okay, my increases, I needed 14. Okay, when I got to row 3 and I did the increase, of course I had been counting. All you have to do is count your 20 stitches. You know you had 20 stitches. Everyone had 20. Okay? And then you count, then you go up to 14, and then, so my 14 stopped at row 3. After I finished row 3, I had enough increases. But you go ahead and finish out the whole, you go ahead and finish row 4, row 5, and row 6, and that's what I have done. So I have stopped on, I have finished row 6, and that's where I'm going to stop on this side. So I'll just grab this up. Now I'm going to my right side. Okay, if we were looking as when we started, make sure I'm on camera. Okay, so remember I had, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so this side was waiting for me to come back, so I can just take these markers off now and just get them out of the way. And what I need to do now is to, remember my needle shows me the direction that I was working in, so I need to turn the work, and I need to, of course, get some more yarn. I've got to get another ball of yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and put it back on my long needles, because once I finish this side, I'm going to join the whole front again. So I may as well just go ahead and work on my my number 8, and I'm on the 36. So here we go. So now I know that I have finished. This was row 1. Now this is row 2, and I know that I need to purl on row 2, but the first stitch at the neck, I put my yarn in. I knit my first and last stitches. Some people slip theirs. It's whatever you like. I just just pick up your yarn. I'm gonna leave a little tail in case I need to, kind of touch up something. Just loop it over the needle, hold it. I knit the first stitch, pull it tight. Now I hold both strands. I hold the tail and the yarn for about 2 or 3 stitches. Now I'm gonna purl across, and I'm just holding both strands for a couple of stitches. Now it's locked in. Now I can let go of the tail and just continue working the pattern with the working yarn. And I just go across. Just like that. And remember, just like on the left side, I have to work the whole pattern, repeat 1 time before I can start increasing. So I'm going to work this side 1 through 6, and then I will see you back on row 1 again, ready to increase on the right side. So I'm just purling across now. And like I say, it might benefit you to go ahead and put it on a longer needle, because once we get to the right number, then we're going to join the whole front, and you're going to need your long needle. I'm on the right side, remember, and I have worked rows 1 through 6 1 complete time. Now I'm back on row 1 again, and this is when we will start the increase here on the right side. So I just simply knit up to, let me just get over here. I've already done the pattern part, so now I'm just knitting over towards my neck. Ooh. And let's see, okay, a few more stitches. Alright, I go up to 2 stitches before the end. There's 2 stitches, and into this stitch right here I knit into the front just like I did on the other side, and into the back. Pull. Now I have increased 1 stitch, and then knit this stitch on the last stitch at the neck. You'll turn the work, and then you will simply continue working however many increases your size call for. And like I said, I always, on this edge, I always knit my stitches, but you can slip them or whatever, but knit. And then of course I'm going to purl back. This will be row 2, and you will increase on every right side row. That's 1, 3, and 5 until you have the number of increases that I've suggested for your side, the size that you picked out. And you just work back across. And when you finish your number of increases, you can just count your stitches here, just like we did on the left side, on the the left side. You just count your number of stitches. Everyone starts with 20, and then you count 14. Count till you have 14 more stitches. Keep increasing till you have 14 more stitches. And wherever you stop, just make sure you go ahead and finish, the whole 4, 5, and 6 rows. 4, 5, and 6 or whatever. And then we will be ready to join. And I will show you how to join the front. So see, we're almost there. But you can see how pretty. Oh, let me tell you this. This is just something. I'm sure a lot of people do this, but for the new people, when I have circular needles and to keep them from flopping around and hitting me all in the face, these little things that the kids use, you get them at the Dollar Tree. They're pencil grips. You get like 12 in a pack for $1. I just take them. They're little rubber things. I cut them in half, and they're just perfect for holding, sliding them on the tips of 2 circular needles. and it kind of holds them in place and keeps them from flipping about, you know, hitting you. Or if I had to leave in a hurry and I didn't have my caps or something, you know, I can simply take my two, put one in, put the other in, and more it holds like nothing else. I'm sure a lot of you use that, but anyway, but for those who have not used that, it's just a good way, and they're cheap, $1. Okay. I'm doing it in the cool of the evening, so it's not quite as hot as when I had the one that I was wearing on. So it's cooled down now. So let's continue. And you are increasing now on the right side, just like we did on the left side. Knit into the front and the back right before the last stitch. See you back after all your increases, and we will be ready to join. In other words, we will be ready to start. You'll be on row 1 again, and we're going to join the two fronts together. Yay! Okay, so I'm back with an overview of how the neckline looks once we did all our increases. For my extra large, I had to add 14 increased stitches on each side of the neck. And I kept working. I think I reached it when I did a row 3. So, but you finish out the whole pattern again. So I finished after I did my last increase on row 3. Then I just did row 4, purl, row 5, and row 6. So now I should be on row 1. I'm on the right side. And as you can see, the neck, see that nice neckline? Here's the back. Well, it doesn't quite come together. So we need to cast on some extra stitches and then complete row 1 of the pattern. Just staying in pattern. So what I want to show you is I'm already up. Let's see, can I turn this now? I've already worked row 1 over to where I need to pick up some stitches. And for me, my extra large, I gave you an idea of how many stitches you should pick up. Mine is 7. Now, if you check my math, or if you need to count all your stitches again, and if you're off a stitch or two, don't worry about it. Just pick it, just cast it on. It won't hurt anything. Okay, so here I am. I've turned it so that you can see it. Now let me make sure I'm on camera with this. Yeah, I think you can see that okay. I'll pull it up a little bit more. And then I'll zoom in. How about that? Okay, so now here's the bottom, and I'm working on this neck upside down because I'm working row 1, and I worked all the way up across, and I get up to where I need to join. Remember this, I just cut off that yarn on this side because I knew I wasn't going to need it, and attach my ball, you know, when I started this side. So, but I still have to, there we go, I just want to pull over enough. So we'll come back and take care of that. So for right now, we're just going to do backwards loop cast on. Nothing special. Let me see if I can get my yarn on here right. Make sure I have enough so when I start I can continue on. Alright, so I just grab my yarn, and you know, like I say, I'm no expert, so if you know another way that you would cast on right in the middle of the work, that's fine. If you know, more experienced knitter. But normally I just take my thumb and just loop it around, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to double check it. I wanted to cast on 7 stitches, so 2, 4, 6, 7. Now I need to join it to this side of my neck. So this is how I do it. Like I said, I'm no expert. But I cast on 1 extra stitch, so I made it 8. The pattern, I gave you a number, and I cast on 1 more to make it, for me, 8. Now I'm going to take my needle over from this side, and I'm going to slip the last stitch I just cast on to my left hand needle. Just slip it over, make sure it doesn't get loose or come apart. See that? Now I'm going to grab that tail that was left over from this needle, and you have a stitch that I just put over and the stitch on this side. Now I'm just going to simply knit these two together. That's all. Just knit them together, holding both strands of yarn, and I may do it for a couple of stitches, just to kind of make sure it is in there locked in. Just like that. Then I can drop that old tail from the other side, and we can cut that in a minute. And now I'm on row 1, so I continue across knitting till I get to my pattern. I will work row 1 of the pattern on the left side here. I just want to work a few more stitches, make sure, see how it looks. Okay, now we have a closed, or we have a together. We've connected the two fronts together. Does that make sense? Can you see that? It's kind of hard with this dark thread, but this dark yarn, but does that make sense? All right, I'm going to continue to knit across on row 1, and I'm going to knit a few rows. I'm not going to try to finish it all the front because I want to get to the neck, but I'm going to knit a few rows so that you can see, and then we're going to pick up the neck. And if you have, like I say, a number, you could go ahead and pick it up. If you don't have all these needles, you can go ahead and just go to a number 929, or if you have interchangeable needles, you might have a 920, 25, whatever you have that's shorter than this 36, that we can pick up stitches around the neck. So I'm going to knit across and knit a few more rows, so when I come back we will be ready to pick up our neck. And there you have it. Okay, more work to do. See you in just a minute. Okay, let's talk a minute as we get ready to work our neck. As you can see, I went ahead and I made a few rows just so that I can show you, so you can see the neck plain and clear from the body. And this is another thing you might do, like I said, after you, before you start your neck, you might want to go ahead and knit maybe 10 more inches for your front and not go all the way down, and stop and then come back up, and let's cast on for the neck and finish your neck. Finish, we're going to, make this nice roll collar neck. And then that way, once you finish the neck and bind off, you'll be able to put your poncho on and see how the front fits before you get all the way down to the bottom. In case, like I say, I try to use simple measurement. If I did 20 up in the back and then 21 represents the shoulder and the neck where I bound off, then I would go, normally I go 20 down. But you may, for the front, because of our bust line or your bust size, you may find that you might need more rows on the front of your poncho. So this way you get to try it on a lot better. So I did do a few. I didn't go all the way down, but I did a few so that I can show you. Now let's get to our picking up the stitches on the neck. And like I said, there's a lot of new people, and we don't want you to run out just buying stuff, and just try to use things that you have. I knitted this whole poncho on a size US 8. So if you have, or can get a hold of, if you don't, then you can still use a US size 8 to pick up your neck, but it needs to be shorter in length. This was a 36-inch long cable, a circular needle, but you will need something more in line of a 20, 24, or 29 size needle. If you have a size 9, 29 needle, which is what I'm using here, then that would work just great. Because it's just nice to take the collar. I wanted the collar to be, I took it up a needle size. Or you possibly can go up to a 10, 29. But you just need to have a shorter needle. Now, let me talk two other. Now, the next thing you're going to need, you definitely need two different stitch markers. I have a red and then I have this yellow. The red, I'm just going to go ahead and designate it as my beginning of the row. You'll need to know where the row begins as we start to knit in the round. This yellow one will just represent where the neck stops. So, for instance, as we pick up, I don't want you to pick up in the center back. I want you to start over in this corner, right here, right where we started the bind off of the neck. And you'll be able to tell the bind off stitches because, you know, they have those two strands and you can see that we've bound those off. Now for my size, I bound off 35. So I want to try to pick up 35. And so you start here in this corner and you're going to just pick up your stitches. Now I've already picked up mine to save a little time, but you're going to pick up these stitches all the way till you get to 35 or your number or across the back, your neck. This is the back neck. Then you'll place a marker. Then you will start to pick up around the front, and you can count as you go, and you're going to do your best to try to get both sides as close as possible. I was able to get about 24 to 25 stitches on each side, plus remember I had 7 that I actually cast on, so that's as many as you can pick up plus the 7 or 8 or 9, however many stitches you had to cast on, and then you try to do another 24, 25 or whatever it is you're trying to kind of get the size, the two sides of the neck edge as close as possible. You know, if you're off one stitch on one, don't take the whole thing out, people. It's going to have a big collar. Nobody's going to see that. You know, I've seen people like, oh, I'm off one stitch. Well, make one. Or don't pull it back. You never learn anything. You know, you learn. This is something you learn to, okay, I'm learning. I'm getting this. I want to get it so that once it's done, I feel gratified and I feel confident enough to try it again. That's the whole point, to try it again. Not to be, you know, thrown in, you know, somewhere and, no, I want to try it again. I want to make it again. I want to see if I can do it. Okay, so I've already gone around and picked up my stitches. I have my beginning of the row mark and I'm using red. And now I'm just going to knit around. I'm going to knit around this neck 2 times. I'm just going to just plain knit. And I'm just going to do this. And then I will see you back in just a minute. And after we've knit around 2 times, then we're going to do an increase row. So I'll see you back. Let me knit my 2 rows. Then we'll be back for an increase row. The only one we're going to have to do. Alright, see you in just a minute. Okay, I'm trying to hold this up so it won't be so hard to see. As I finish, I'm just now finishing the 2nd row. I've knit around, and I got my yarn kind of tangled here. Let's see what I got here. Okay, so I'm coming up to my marker that represents the start of the row. So I know I'm up to, as I knit my 2nd row around on my neck on this larger needle. It just makes it a little looser. That's the whole purpose, to keep this neck nice and loose, and so it'll give a nice roll down effect. Now I'm up to my marker. Of course I slide my marker, which now I know that I am in from this marker to this marker. Remember, that was my center back. Those were my back neck stitches. Well, we're not going to increase in the back neck at all. So once I slide that marker, I'm just going to knit across real quick to the next marker, which will represent where we picked up stitches for along the front edge. So I'm just going to knit across however many stitches you had. I had 35. I'm keeping the back neck stitches the same as what I bound off, but I'm going to add or increase all around the front edge of this poncho. So let me pull it up, a little yarn, and you see it just cleans up. I knit the 2 rows to clean up all your stitches and clean up anything that just didn't look right. You could fix it right then. If you left too big a gap, you might could make a stitch to fill in or whatever. It just makes it a nice, cleaner row to work from. So, as you can see, I'm going across the back. Now the stitches are nice and even and everything looks uniformed. Okay. Let me continue on till I get to the marker. Now, when I get to the marker, I know that I am done with the back neck. Now I want to start increasing as I work on this front section. And see how nice and even. The main thing when you're picking up stitches for our still new people, just be uniform. Don't be obsessed with it or worry about, oh gosh, I don't know if just be consistent. I pick up a few, I hold it up, and you check and make sure you don't have big gaps. If you have big gaps, just pull back a little bit and try to make sure you just be consistent in your picking up of stitches. That's all. And like I said, if you come out one short on the other end, sometimes you have a tendency to be a little different on the other side. Then either pull back or make one, but don't lose all your work. All right, so I'm up to the marker. We have ended knitting 2 rows. Now I want to start an increase here. So I'm just going to do something real simple. Knit 2 stitches and knit into the front and into the back of the next stitch. Knit 2 stitches, knit into the front and into the back of the next stitch. Put up a little more yarn. Okay. And kind of twist it around here, so maybe, I hope this is showing up pretty good. Let me just kind of check my camera. Yeah, I can see it. Okay. And if you find that sometimes, like I said, when you're filming this, we're doing the best we can. You don't want it too close because then it's almost like vertigo. It's too far away. So you could always hit full screen on your computer and bring it up a little closer if you're having problems, So knit 2 stitches. Then the next stitch, knit into the front, go around and knit into the back. Knit 2 stitches, and I didn't even count to see how many stitches I had. We just go with what we have, whatever it comes out to. Knit into the, all right, now knit 2 stitches, knit into the front and into the back of the next stitch. Knit 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then the next stitch I knit into the front and into the back. Now I'm coming up to that front. See how nice and neat where we cast on all those stitches. Looks real nice. So I continue, knit 2 stitches, 1, 2, now knit into the front and knit into the back of the next stitch. And knit into the, oops, I did a yarn over for some reason. Knit 2 stitches, knit 2 stitches, now knit into the front and knit into the back and off the needle. Knit 2 stitches, knit into the front and into the back of this stitch all the way around. And all we're doing is adding a little more ease and a little more length to the front. The back will stay the same. No increases. So you would continue to increase up to the start of the row marker. From that point, now you're just knitting the round. Like we're just knitting a big tube. So let me pull out the original one real quick just to kind of look at the neck while we're talking about it. And then you can see it. I'm going to move this over. So here is my, let's get it on the front. See, it just winds up being a nice tube like we've done on, like a neck warmer. So it's nice. This one is just knit all the way up. And let's see about how many inches I think if you really want a nice roll, this is boring work, because you're just gonna knit in the round over and over, round and round and round. But to make it really look nice, you have got to spend some time and give yourself a nice tube for your for it to roll down nice. I have over 8 inches. I got tired. I would have done more, but I just got tired. So I stopped at a little over 8 inches, and then I bound all my stitches off. And of course, when you knit, you know it just automatically rolls. That was the whole point. And you can see how clean my neck stitches are. But all the fullness falls more in front, because that's where we did increases here. And this is, and there you go. It makes a nice roll collar. Remember, since I do simple things and I just really kind of repeat the same thing, I just use what I've learned from this one. Now I can make something else. So you want to keep track of these numbers. You see what I'm saying? It's so much easier if you're going to work out of stitch books to just have a list of numbers that you can pull from that represent your body. And not what somebody else tries to make you try to make your body fit into something else. So for instance, this, for me, I did this extra large. And on my formula, from the beginning, and once I added everything up, I had 129 stitches. And after I tried it on and I liked this side, liked the way it fit, then I know that I can at least, for a poncho, say if I wanted to make another one, I don't have to, of course I put another design. I don't do this design again. Maybe I will do something, we'll do something different. We'll put more design in here or design it all over. But I have a point of reference now, because I put it on my little cheat card. I would get myself a little notebook or something, and I just put mine on a little old card or something, and I'll write down what numbers, like if I wanted to poncho, 129 stitches. Of course, eventually I try to round that number off to a number divisible by 4, just to have it in sequence with everything else. So instead of 129, I'd probably round it up to like 100, either round it down to 128 or round it up to 132. They're divisible by 4. But that's a range. Do you understand now? So that creates a 4-stitch range. And depending on what lace pattern I pick out, when I see that I need a few more stitches, I know I have a range of, say, 128 to 132 to make my poncho. See? Same, and it works. And we will revisit later on some time now, because we have so many other things to work on that I want to share. But on down the road, I'm sure we might do something more in the spring. We might pull this idea out again and make it completely different. Change the neck. You don't need a roll in the spring. You might need a pretty V-neck with a pretty tie in the front. Or, there's so many things. But at least I have a reference of a number. When I say, well, what size? You just go to your little card or your little book that you're going to start keeping track of how long, how many stitches in my sleeve that I really like. How many stitches for this poncho? How many stitches for the back of the sweater? Does that make sense? If it doesn't, I done spent 4 years on the YouTube almost making all this stuff and showing you. Not telling you, but showing you. So surely it must work for somebody. I hope it works for somebody. But I've enjoyed you. I've enjoyed your company. I hope this makes a great nurse's gift. We want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you for your service and for just your selflessness. You just give freely. And you know, to some, yes, it is a job. And then to some others, it's what they really want to do. They have a love for it. They have a calling for it. And I just wanted to say, you know, I like to knit with purpose. You know, I don't have no big names in my head, you know, to come up with fancy names for my little thing. So I think real common. I think like, okay, well, nurses, or a poncho for nurses, or helping hand shawl, or, you know, just real basic things. Because I know that's, you know, basic people will understand it and get it. Just people, just regular, everyday people. And I see you, and I'm glad you see me. I hear you. I listen to your comments. You keep me engaged. You let me know kind of what you have in mind. If we haven't got to what you asked me for, it's not. It's just because it's on the list. It's on the list, and hopefully, coming up, it will be on the way. Okay, so now, right off the bat, like I say, if I can get another tutorial up to use this stitch for a guy, because like I said, we have plenty of guy nurses, I will do my best. But October's coming, and I know my crocheters are sitting there going, oh, Jay, when you going to do something for crochet again? Well, October is crochet month. I'm just going to have a blast with October. And if you look at Wendy's calendar, oh, first of all, did you like Wendy's calendar? Isn't it pretty? I hope I hit it. I hope I matched it really well. I think I really matched it with this poncho, with both colors. But October, of course, represents like Halloween. So I'm going to, that's going to be my crochet. I'm going to crochet, it's going to be a crochet tutorial. So all my crocheters, you can perk up now. Thinking, oh, Jay just hadn't done any more crochet. No, I'm trying to just spread it out a little bit, people. So I thought, well, it just makes it that much fun to do Halloween and do something that we can wear in crochet. Now, as I said, I'm going to try to work in, look, I don't know where I'm going to get all this time, but this is just that little necklace, and it's just with an I-cord, and I will do a simple tutorial. It is not anything fancy, but it's fun, and it's cute, and it's easy, and put it on with your poncho and our little beads that I got these. I believe I got these at, I think I got these at Michael's. But anyway, but everybody has them. Joann's, Hobby Lobby, they all have them. And they come on a little card. And I simply just took them right off the card just as they came. So I will be working, try to work this up just for those who just said, they just loved it. Jay, just do it anyway. I can do it, but just do it. So I will try to do it. Those are the little short ones I'm trying to learn how to do. And I'm going to try to learn how to do them myself. See, because my son's getting ready to get involved. He's an engineer, and he's getting ready to be involved in a big project. So between these long ones, I'm thinking if I can learn how to edit and upload, you know, just little short ones, I won't be sitting around giving him the side eye. Like you forgot your mama. That, you know, I can do it myself. Well, a lot said, a lot made. I hope you've had fun. My calculator that I got from Walmart, I can't find my receipt. I guess I have to go buy another one. But I hope you, like I say, I hope you have fun. I hope you please give this a try. And remember, anything or any of my designs that you knit or crochet off my channel, off of my crochet site, you are welcome. I encourage you. We have quite a few right now. I'm a little behind, but we have quite a few who have sent in pictures, and I thank each and every one that you're welcome to send in pictures. All you have to do is go to one of Jay's Friendship album videos. Go, you know, at the end of the video, it tells you exactly what to send and where to send it. A lot of you have, and like I said, I love the fact that take more than one shot, you know, set it up and just kind of take, so that if there's a bad one, we can just throw it out. But if you only send one, then if it's, you know, maybe it doesn't show up as well. So it's best to take at least 2 or 3 and send it in, and that's what most people have done. And we have quite a little back stock now of pictures that we're going to have to go through and get ready for our next one. So we'll at least have one more Jay's Friendship album before the end of the year. I'd say sometime around Thanksgiving. So maybe it might be a little before that, but I'm, because we have so many right now. Oh, but I have so many tutorials to get up to. But you are encouraged, welcome. We'd love to see it. It is not about perfection or, well, mine may not look as good as that. No, it's about that you did it, that you stepped out of the box. And your stuff is just as good as anyone else. I used to think all the time, oh, my stuff is not good as anyone else's. And then sometimes I got to see some other people and I'm thinking, well, no. My hands are just as, you're just as gifted as anyone else. And we just want to show it and promote it and let people see. And then that way, that's a way that I can say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to stop. Thank you for taking time for watching, for listening, but then taking your time to actually take this journey with me. So, as I get prepared and ready for the next project, woohoo, Halloween, crocheting. This is Jay. This is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. Thanks, sending a big shout out to nurses, sending a big shout out to all my YouTube friends, and I'll see you soon. See ya!